All right. Hello, everybody. It's Carl. I'm back. Save your career. Turn this off again so it doesn't distract. Hope everybody is doing well. I'm excited. I'm going to try to make this short and sweet today. I think that saving your career is possibly the most important thing you can do because it means that you're doing passionate work. And today I want to talk about strengths and weaknesses because I think, let me turn off my AC here, or my heater actually. I think we have to really focus on peeling away our armor. We build ourselves up and we protect our egos to really, what's the word I'm looking for? To make sure that we don't hurt ourselves, right? And this is what's really fascinating about doing this work, digging deep into who we are, understanding why we tell ourselves, excuse me, these stories. And, if we don't, peel these layers away and we don't expose the truth, and we're going to keep living this lie of everything's okay. Um, I don't need to do things I love. I don't believe that I deserve these things. And that is not a good enough answer, a good enough reason to keep doing what you're currently doing. You have so many gifts, and sometimes it requires peeling away these layers and exposing them so we can navigate our careers better. And I believe in a big formula, or a big or an important formula that you can use is what I call the three P's: personality plus process equals product. Personality, process, product. So, first, personality. Your personality determines a big part of where you get energy from. Are you an introvert, an extrovert? I'm an introvert blend, which means introverted with a blend of extroversion. I do enjoy doing these lives. They're not easy for me. They do drain me, and I will be exhausted after this is done. But what it will do is it will help me understand how I can help you better, how I can help you peel away these layers. And that's how I've had found success in my career. It's understanding, what I'm trying to accomplish and what stories I'm telling myself that are holding me back. And for the longest time, I believed that I was going to be a very well known writer. I'm a good writer. My ideas are good, but the prose does not flow from my fingertips, from my brain to my fingertips very easily. It's a tedious process for me. And I get help, I get support. And so writing is somewhat of a weakness of mine. I love it. It helps me process my thoughts. I do a ton of journaling, but it's not easy. And so I really want you to look at your strengths and weaknesses today because, last time we talked about passions, we talked about your vision, we talked about finding time to do the work that you like to do. And this time it's all about digging into you. What do you do well? And so hopefully you have a pen and paper. I have my notes that I'm keeping for today. And, we're probably going to do this. It's only going to probably be about a half hour. But the idea is let's write down what are your top strengths. And one of my top strengths, my top five: futuristic, includer, activator, ideation, and positivity. Yes, I I put positivity was not always in my top 5. It was probably a weakness of mine. And not that not that I didn't have it in me. It was very dormant. The stories I would tell myself was, I wasn't good enough. I didn't deserve this. And these stories I kept repeating didn't really tap into my core strengths that I really um, am able to use now. And I want you to be able to use your strengths. I want you to be able to say, "Oh, yes, I can do this well." And so coming back to my writing, kind of being a weakness, and we'll talk about weaknesses in a little bit, but I really want you to kind of look at, you know, things that you do. So I should say, writing is a strength and a weakness because I do a lot of processing. I do a lot of ideation through writing. I keep a journal every single day, and I call it the Zen journal. And I write 3 things I did well. What did I learn? What is a story that happened during the day in the rating? And so I earlier in the previous part of this course, day one, I said, okay, rating your day is a process that I use, and that's what I'm telling you now. But the idea, I added the story component because I want to tell better stories, and I want to be able to share these stories with you. And so, one of the stories that I've noticed is, you know, I'm repeating I'm the same as my father, and I'm not, right? And I'm catching these things though because I'm noticing them. I'm building this awareness, and it's helping me be a better effective communicator to my kids, especially my oldest son. The other day, he kind of punched my youngest son in the back, not that hard, but just kind of messing with him, and my youngest son was like, "Ow." And right away, I jumped on my oldest son. I was like, "Oh," well, he was like, "That didn't hurt." And I jumped on my oldest son, because I was like, "Hey, you can't tell people how they feel. However they feel is how they feel, and you can't judge that." And I used to do that, and as a kid, I used to be like, "Whatever." But people are who they are, and if they say it hurts, and they'll believe it hurts, right? If they say they're sick, they are sick. And so when we say like, "Oh, you're not this or you're not that," it's easy for me to turn into my dad and be like, "No, oh, don't do that." And not that my dad wouldn't have said something similar, but he just would kind of jump in real quick, and he kind of quick to anger, and I did that with my son a little bit, and I kind of caught him, and he was a little like, "Ooh, looks like my dad's upset." And I realized, like, oh man, like, I'm catching these thing earlier. And then I, said, "Hey, it's okay to notice things, but you have to be careful in how you talk to other people." And then I talked to him afterwards as well, and it just really helped. It really helped me um, be a better father to my son, process that situation. And so, taking time to reflection is so important. We often, think about our strengths, and then those strengths are who we are for the next 25 years. And that's not how life works. We ebb and flow. I would have told you writing was a strength of mine and not a weakness, but as I get older, they're both. And so that's this awareness and this ability to understand and navigate your career that can really make a big impact. Okay. So hopefully you jotted down your top 5 weaknesses. If not, you can pause this video and jot these down. Next, I want you to go on to weaknesses. And one of the thing that I think that's really important is kind of looking at what you don't do so well. And me coming back to my writing is um, the way that I think the ideas are very good, but they jump all over the place. So I need help with structure. And that's a big part of how I ask for help. I get a lot of feedback on my ideas. I asked my community for feedback. I asked professionals for feedback. I get my books all professionally edited. And this is something that like I'm a really good designer, but I'm better at systems design and research design than I am at visual design. And so I get support in that area. I get support from a visual perspective. So design, I would have told you, was a weakness of mine, but the older I get, it's more nuanced, right? Like I said, I'm really good at systems design and understanding how things fit together. Now, being able to explain that and write that, that's when I get some support. And this is um, as you grow your career, and if you want to save your career, you've got to find those people that you can lean on and you can help, right? Because this is a give and take process. You got to give a lot, and then that will allow you to also take some too. And so the more you give, the more people want to help you. It's how I build up my business, my Dig to Fly business. It's how I coach people. I give. This right here is a giving part. So I want you to write your 5 weaknesses. And so as you look at them, you now hopefully you've started to think of a few weaknesses. Pause the video, write them down, and then what I want you to do is go back to your strengths and write why this is a strength. This is where we're digging in. Like, this is not just, hey, I'm really good at writing, I'm really good at presentations, I'm really good at coding. Whatever you do that you do well, that's great, but why what differentiates you from other people? And these are leverage points, and you can use these strengths to help you make connections and help you build relationships, because this is a big part of saving your careers, building these relationships and building them up as you go. If you want to make a leap to a new company, great. Now, you have to have these relationships that you can then start to put feelers out in the world. But how do you do that? You have to show that you can bring value. And sometimes that's bringing value to people who are in other companies. A big part of how I built my business is coaching people, showing them what I can do, giving them, free calls, and giving them free spotlight value sessions. And so, doing these things takes time, yes, but it's also helped me. My podcast, Dig to Fly, same thing. I interview other people. I highlight other people on my show, and it's done wonders. I've built up relationships with people, and that's what I want you to do. Okay, now go to your weaknesses list and write why these are weaknesses. And then the key part is starting to see these patterns and how you can see these, how they fit together, and how you can start to look towards doing, our goal here is do 20% more of the work you love and do it every single day. And so on Friday, we'll talk about the action steps to actually make this possible. So right now, I want you to get a deeper understanding of, your career, what you do well, and then how you can start to navigate. Because as you look at, these different strengths and weaknesses, you'll start to see, oh, okay, this is a weakness because of this, but I can offset it with this strength. And also, this other weakness, I could use some help in this area. And then who could you get some help from? And the same thing with your strengths. Who can you help other people? Because this will allow you to build these relationships. This will allow you to really figure out how to grow and do things that matter to you. Because to really create 20% more space and freedom to do the work that you love, it's a big part of that is strengths and weaknesses. You have to know and in a deep level understand, you know, a task a project comes in. Don't just try to always just do it from the same way. Try to do it from your strengths. Look at your strengths list, post them in front of you, your strengths and your weaknesses, right? And allow them to help guide you and allow them to maybe help you slow down and maybe tackle a situation from a different perspective. Writing an email. So often we just start typing and using our fingers to, write out the email. We tap, 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 and out goes the email and away it's sent. Now, for, I don't know, maybe 70% of us, that's easier. As an introvert, you might find that easier, but as a introvert blend, you might think of yourself as somebody that likes to talk. So could you write out your emails? Let's say you're working from home, you're not in an office. Could you use your voice? Could you do voice to text? This is a powerful tool that so many of us don't think about, even when we're doing a text, right? Like a quick little audio message. There's lots of ways to communicate. And this is the great thing about technology. There's a ton of issues with technology as well, but we can use our strengths more and we can do it on a more regularly basis. So if you're a leader in the workplace, try doing an auditory message and then ask what people think. Did they like it? Get that feedback. Don't just be like, oh, this new way is great. You have to have that ability to also understand other people's strengths and weaknesses. Did they like that you did an auditory message for them? Or maybe they don't like it, but you could do text to type, and have that email typed out from your phone or from your laptop. So it's these little things that we can do, and ways to navigate our careers and find this space. Because when we start to do things that fit our personality. Remember, personality plus process, right? So instead of just typing out the email, maybe your personality is better fit for audio or for audio to text, and then the product could be better. And maybe you start saving 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. By the end of the day, you have an extra 30, 40 minutes to do things that you love. Now, this is a process, right? This is, this 20% more of the things you love. It's going to take a little bit of time. But if you can start carving out some time on your calendar, if it's 15 minutes here, a half hour there, and you can start focusing on doing those side projects for work. That's one of the best ways to grow a career. And whenever I interview somebody, they've always said, you know what? I just started taking on these different tasks and projects that tried to drive value for the company, that tried to drive value for the client, um, and figured out a way to still charge them, make money. You still getting paid, but you're doing things just in your own way. You become the captain of your career, and that's what I want. So, what I want you to really focus on is, hey, Yusuf, what's up? Thanks for joining. Uh, um, and it's really great because I think when you look at these things and you start to put them together and you start to realize like you have these strengths and you have these weaknesses that you can navigate. You have the power. You have the power to be the captain of your career. And this is something that, no matter what, you can, find this extra time, 20% more of the things that you love. And you can take on these new projects because now you freed up some more time. And that's what we talked about in day one, is freeing up some time. So give it a try. Write down your strengths. Why are they strengths? Write down your weaknesses. Why are they a weakness? And then you start to see patterns, and you can start to see how you can create some more leverage in your career. All right. Hope everybody's having a great day. Thank you for day 3 of the challenge. Thank you, Yusuf, for joining in for a little bit. It was good to see you. And yes, hope all is well. And if you have any questions, Carl with a K at digtofly.com. All right, y'all. Have a good one.